So in previous classes we discussed about carbohydrates, protein. So these two topics are completed. So today we are going to talk about fat. Okay. So what we learn, what we will learn the definition, type, function, and daily recommended daily allowance and dietary. In which diet you will get the fat. So let's start the class. So basically fat, whatever name, whatever we think that fat is, that we will get that we will have oil. Okay. We will have fatty acid. Okay. And other, just ghee, whatever we think that these are fat. Okay. It will come under fat in the different types. Okay. Basically fat is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay. So the properties of fat. Fat is greasy type. Okay. Like ghee, it is like greasy type. Okay. And second thing is it is insoluble in water. If you want to dissolve in water, okay, somehow it will look like it is dissolved, but after some time it will get under beneath the water. Okay. And second is first is greasy and it is insoluble in water. These are the two properties of fat. Okay. Mhm. So what is the definition? Definition is fat is a greasy substance. Okay. It have molecule of molecules of glycerol combined with the molecule of fatty acid. So what have it made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But if you go superior level, it have glycerol. That is glycerol plus fatty acid. That is the reason we'll call as fat. Fat is equal to glycerol plus fatty acids. In that you have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, and it is second, third. So third property is highly source of energy. Highly source of energy. Okay, so these are the properties of fat. Now we discussed about definition and we discussed about what is fat. Now we will talk about types, different types of fats. So basically we have two types of fats. One is saturated fat and second one is unsaturated fat. So we will talk one by one. First is saturated fat. So basically if you go to the uh, bonding level, chemical level, it have single, no double bond. Means it is single bonded, carbon, 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 like that, or hydrogen, oxygen, like that. Okay, saturated fat. Unsaturated fat, unsaturated fat, unsaturated fat. It is double bond, carbon, carbon, like one double bond is present. one or two double bond is present. Okay. Unsaturated fat. And unsaturated fat is also divided into two types. One is mono unsaturated fat, and second one is polyunsaturated fat. Mono means single, poly means multiple. So here you have single double bond is called monounsaturated. Like carbon having double bond one, other are single bond. But in the poly you have more than one double bond. Okay. Here one bond, here one bond, here one bond, here two bonds, sorry, two bonds. But in mono you have double bond, one double bond. Okay. If you go to the polyunsaturated fat or unpoly uh, poly sorry saturated fat, unsaturated fats, if you go, it will become solid. Unsaturated fat, unsaturated fat, sorry, saturated fat, if you uh, keep them, it will become solid state in room temperature. But in unsaturated fat, it will become liquid. It in the liquid form in room temperature. Room temperature means 36 degrees point or 96.8. Saturated fat, unsaturated fat. So let's differentiate other. It is solid in room temperature. It is liquid in room temperature. First is. Second is source is animal products like butter, cheese, red meat. Okay. And the plant product also. Plant product. In plant products, you will get coconut oil and palm oil. So it have saturated fat. Unsaturated fat, animal, it have very different types. Okay. Like olive oil, okay, avocado oil, nuts oil, almonds, peanuts, all these are the unsaturated fat. Saturated fat having LDL, low density lipoprotein. It is very, very bad for heart health. Okay, and it will increase bad cholesterol in the body. Okay, and the unsaturated fat having high density lipoprotein, HDL, good cholesterol, and it is good for our heart. Okay, so if you take cheese, butter, red meat, and palm oil, coconut oil is also good, no issues. Even though it is saturated, having saturated fat, but coconut oil is good. But palm oil, butter, cheese, red meat, all this having LDL, low density lipoprotein. So what will happen? It will become solid in the body. So there is a high chances of increasing fat and cholesterol in the arteries, veins, and the patient will having severe cardiac problem, coronary artery diseases, myocardial infarction, other things. But unsaturated fat very good. They will reduce bad cholesterol and it increase good cholesterol. And mostly the monosaturated and polysaturated. Polysaturated also having very good function like omega 3 fatty acids, flax seeds, okay, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil or soybean, all this having poly unsaturated fat. So we'll call PUFA. Uh, Mono unsaturated fat, mono unsaturated fat, MUFA. So MUFA for health, for heart is very good, and PUFA is essential for membrane, cell membrane, hormonal production, and it will reduce the inflammation. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, so we discussed about fat. So it is divided into saturated fat, unsaturated fat, and again unsaturated fat is divided into monosaturated fat, polysaturated fat. Okay, so also discuss the uh, not more. Now is calorie value. So I will tell you how much amount of how much amount required for the body. We'll talk about calorie value. What is calorie value? Calorie value means the amount of energy is present in the food, whatever food we are eating. Okay, the amount of energy which is present in the food. Okay, to do the certain amount of function. Like if you are walking, okay, if you are walking for 1 kilometer, so already you know that we discussed about calories. Okay, 1 gram of carbohydrates having 4 calories. Okay, and 1 gram of protein having 4 calories, but 1 gram have fat having 9 calories, which is very important. Okay, so that's the reason we have to avoid saturated fat. We have to take unsaturated fat, mostly mono and poly, both are required by the body. Okay, so what is calorie value? The amount of energy required to do a certain function to the body. So 1 kilometer of walking needs energy. So energy is getting from the calories in the form of calories. So that is calorie. Okay, so it is very important. So 1 gram of uh, carbon or carbohydrates will get you the 4 kilo calories, and 1 gram of protein you will get 4 calories, but 1 gram of fat you will get 9 calories. So this is the difference between calories. Okay. Now the functions of fat. What is the function of fat? First is energy source. So already you studied, if without fat you will nothing, you will get the energy. So you need energy, you have to take energy, you have to take fat. Next is insulation and protection. Means insulation means you are sitting on your bones. Okay, so you need cushion. Okay, you need sofa. Okay, to minimize the pressure on the bones and other organs. Okay, so it works as a insulation, or you can cushion type. You or you can tell the protection. It will protect the inner body organs. And the main is cell membrane structure. So fats will maintain the cell membrane structure. If the cell membrane structure is very good, so cell will work very good, and bacteria, virus cannot enter into our body. So the immunity system will also very good. And if you without fat, some vitamins cannot be soluble, because we need fat to soluble certain vitamins like A, D, E, and K. And the last is for hormone production. Hormones are all are made up of fat. Every hormone, steroidal hormone, every hormone, epinephrine, non-epinephrine, anything. Hormonal production and regulation. So very important. So whoever having hormonal imbalance, they need unsaturated fat. So you have to advise your patients to take fat which is unsaturated rather than taking saturated fat. So nowadays, cardiac arrest, okay, PCOD, and paralysis, increase of heart stroke, brain stroke, kidney failure is due to the taking of saturated fat. Like mostly in India, we are using refined oil first, and second is palm oil, and other than that, we are the much more addictive for cheese, butter. Okay, everyone want this type of food, but taste. So what will happen? This will increase the saturated fat LDL in the body. So what will happen if LDL increases? The risk of heart stroke, the risk of okay, the risk of cardiac stroke, the risk of brain stroke are very much increases. Okay, so this is very important to have to uh, advise our patients who are taking treatment. What is the diet? Already I told that we have animal source in the saturated fat, plant source. Other than that, add olive oil, almond oil, peanut oil, nuts, all nuts, seeds, all having polysaturated or monosaturated, or we can tell unsaturated fat. Okay, so animal source are not good for our health for that for add fat if you are using this, but in protein form, in carbohydrate forms, there is very good type of amino acids like butter. Butter is not good, cheese is not good, and mostly red meat is not good. Plant source are very good. Olive oil, coconut, sunflower oil, nuts, all nuts, almond, peanuts, seeds, avocado, a good source of unsaturated fat. Fish, fish, how we are having very good fatty acid, omega-3 fatty acid, although it's a deck, salmon, mackerel, and trout. And now is fat requirement. How much fat required for our body? Daily allowance, RDA, recommended daily allowance. How much? According to the American Association of Dietary Guidelines, you need 20 to 30% of your daily calories comes from fats. Means if you're 18, the like in the previous 1875 calories, we need kilocalories for a body. So in that 20 to 30%. I mean, if you divide it, if you need 300 calories from fat, okay, means if you divide this, you need 44 to 77 grams of fat per day. 44 to 77. It is we're talking about unsaturated fat, not saturated fat. Saturated fat is not less more than 10. 10% is good, no issues, but more than 10% will lead to health issues. Okay. According to uh not according to how much amount of food having, this is food fat content in 100 grams. If you are taking butter having 81 grams of fat in 100 grams. Cheese 100 by 100. Ghee 100 by 100 grams, 100 grams fat. Oil Same, 100 by 100. Milk, 6.5, 4.1 fat. Egg, 58.9 fat. Okay. Almonds, if you take 100 grams almonds, you will get 13.3 fat. Coconut, dry, 62.3. Fresh coconut, 41.6. Soya beans, 19.5. So you need to note about that. According to ICMR, how much amount of fat we need? Not fat, visible fat means how much amount of fat to be visible in our body. 20 grams. We need 20 grams for men, women, pregnant lady 30 grams per day, 20 grams per day. Lactating lady also 30 grams per day. Children 25 grams, 25 to 45 grams according to the age. 0 to 1, 9, 25 years, 25 grams, 10 to 12, 45 grams, 13 to 15, 45 grams, and after 15, required 45 grams. Minimum means 25 to 45 grams the children needs, but adults 20 to 30 gram is enough. Okay, so this is about our fat. So we discussed about fat definition, fat, different types of fat, and what are the different types. We discussed and function, very important functions are there, and the diet, which food having different types of fat, butter, cheese, milk, etc. And RDA, how much amount of, so we need carbohydrates minimum 875 gram calories. Okay, and we need protein, if you are, according to your kg, if you are 60 kg, 60 gram of protein. And fat, you need 20 to 30 grams of fat daily. Okay, and if you are taking saturated fat, not more than 10. If you are taking unsaturated, 20 to 30 grams is good. Okay, so this is all about fat. Any questions regarding that, please ask.